It's easy to hear your favorite artist on WFPK from wherever you are. Listen on your smart speaker, live stream from our website at WFPK.org from Louisville Public Media.
Let's go.
Consequence Podcast Network. Yeah, welcome to another edition of Kyle Meredith with. It's the interview series presented by WFPK at WFPK.org. Consequence, the Consequence Podcast Network. Thanks as always for making your way here. Check it out, the series. You know what to do, like what you see, what you hear. Hit that subscribe button. I put out 3 new interviews every single week, new and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So it's a great way to keep up with your favorite artists. Discover some new ones as well. iTunes, Apple Podcasts, it's Spotify, Podchaser, NPR, WFPK.org, or YouTube for the video versions, anywhere you get your podcasts from. I'm Kyle Meredith. Today, my guest, actor Steve Howey. You, of course, no doubt know him from Shameless, playing Kevin on there, from Reba, so many more roles over the years. He's back in a new Netflix film called Day Shift, alongside Jamie Foxx, Snoop Dogg in a cowboy hat, Dave Franco, Karla Souza, Meagan Good. It's a great cast. It takes place in a vampire-infested Los Angeles, and it's got some of the greatest stunts that I have seen in modern film. And I mean that too. That's in part because the director, J.J Perry, a former stuntman. So, of course, Steve and I are going to talk about what that experience was like working with a stuntman-turned-director, especially in this film, with insane action sequences. We're going to be talking about his character, who's got this ridiculous Armenian accent, how the movie itself, he says, is a throwback to the 80s and 90s, like funny action movies that used to happen back then. We'll also, kind of speaking of the 80s and 90s, we're going to talk about his upcoming role in the TV adaptation of True Lies. You remember this one, right? From the 90s. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jamie Lee Curtis was in it. It's a 90s action classic. So now there's the new TV version that Steve stars as the Arnold role. He is built for it thanks to Day Shift. He'll talk about that. And of course, we're going to hear about keeping up with the Shameless castmates. Shameless ended just last year. One of the greatest television series of all time. So we'll hit back on that as well. But it's mostly about Day Shift. Let's do this. It's Kyle Meredith with Steve Howey.
Hello.
Day Shift. This is such a fun movie. It is absurd, and it is funny, and it is some of the coolest action that I've ever seen. And what you all did with the vampires. What is the pitch you get with a movie like this? Because that had to have looked good on paper as well.
Jamie Foxx, Dave Franco, Meagan Good, Snoop with a cowboy hat and a Gatling gun. It was like, I've never done an action thing before like this. And I've been very fortunate to be on TV and done other movies, but the movies that I've done have been, well, Supercross had some stunts, but nothing like this, not like hand-to-hand combat, right? And I've been so lucky about being on a TV show that lasted 6 years and then another TV show that lasted 11. And it was like being in a Lazy Boy. It was just like, I was just like, what is that? So, but the stunt guys, JJ's stunt team and the stunt coordinator, these guys were so great and gracious, and they taught me so much. And, I know how to throw a punch, right? I can kick. I'll kick your leg. I can kick your leg pretty good. I've trained. But throwing a movie punch is completely different. And it is a choreography, and it is something that like takes a while to learn. And so hopefully I did it justice, but man, it was so much fun. It was so much fun.
It absolutely looks like it on screen too. I mean, just and the way you said it, it is a choreography, and the dance of what is the training that goes into this? Because you all are doing some very inventive stuff on that screen.
Yeah, well, that's all JJ. He has a very infectious attitude. It's very positive and up, and he hoo-ahs a lot, and it's just a great vibe. And then Jamie Foxx is the GOAT. Like he's the same dude as he is when he's like emceeing. You know what I mean? And also, I knew him back in the day because we used to hoop together, him and one of his homies, Dave Brown, and we used to play in this NBA Entertainment League, and it was like decades ago. But he was cool then, you know what I mean? And now he's like, he's an Oscar winning actor. He's a singer. He's a stand up. He's an MC. And then you see him on set, and he's like, "What's up, man? What's up? How you doing? I'm good. How are you? Good, man. What's up?" He's like, "Let's do this." He's cool as shit. And it was so nice. And JJ was great. Everybody was great. Everybody was great. It was such a great experience. That I just, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I was just like, it was such a pleasure to show up to set and be a part of it.
Do you guys still get to do to play ball? Is there opportunity for things like, I mean, is that game still going?
Shit, I can't. I retired. I snapped my Achilles tendon.
Oh,
And then after that, it was like, you know what? I like my tendons to be attached. So maybe daddy needs to, like, put the ball down and just do, like, slow twitch fiber stuff and not this like fast twitch fiber stuff. But yeah, I still hoop a little bit, but no, they don't have that anymore. They don't have that entertainment league. It was pretty dope. It was pretty fun. Everybody went there.
Well, I got to hit on this character that you're doing on Day
Yes.
Shift too. Is it the Nazarian? Is that how you say it? Nazarian Brothers?
Nazarian
Brothers. Now, who are you using for this character, and what is that accent? Where is that from?
That accent is a combination of people that I went to high school with. Because I went to Crescenta Valley High School for 3 years, and then I went to 1 year high school in outside of Denver, Colorado. So for those first 3 years, and my junior high and some elementary school, La Crescenta is right. It's like just north of Glendale. So Glendale in 1995 was the most populated area for Armenians besides the country of Armenia. And so there was, my friends on the basketball team, my friends in different classes were Armenian. And, some of them had accents, some of them didn't. And, so when I talked to JJ, he had the idea for me to play it. And I'm like, I am so white. Like I'm very Caucasian, and he's like, "Can you do an Armenian accent?" And I was like, I mean, listen, you want me to sell you Mercedes Benz? Like white on white. It's beautiful rims. So he was into it. And so it's a combination of like friends, but also, there's like there's a little bit of Persian in it actually too. It's not great. But because of the, like you said, that word absurd, the world that we're in,
Sure.
I hopefully it fits.
Right.
And because I asked Jamie one time, I was like, "Is this like?" I showed up to set, and I was like, "Hey, man," after we did a couple takes with my accent, and I was like, "Is it you do? Is this good? This is okay? You're cool with this?" He said, "Yeah, man, do your thing. It's funny. It's funny. Yeah." And so I was like, "That's cool." But then Scott, who plays my brother, Scott Atkins, he's there at stunt training doing jump 360s. He's doing roundhouse 360s in the air. His stunt double is doing jump 360s. And I'm like, can I stretch first? Can we this is, but it was like going to like stunt school and getting paid for it.
So I mean, having J.J Perry, former stuntman, making that, like, I would assume so. But let me point out, the stunts look incredible in it, but also so does the gum catch in the mouth. I don't know if that's a CGI gum, but if not, that's a stunt in itself.
Yeah, that was like, listen, that was God, was that? No, that was CGI, I think.
Was it? Oh, I'm let down. Oh, I wanted that to be real.
Okay, it was real.
Thanks.
Whatever you want it to be.
Easter Bunny is still real, and so is the gum catch. That's what I needed to hear.
Look, it's vampires in LA. Who's to say that is not real?
Now, being in the bloodline of Van Helsing as you were with Stan Helsing, were you able to draw
Oh,
on that at all?
yeah, no, that talk about, yeah, that was some completely different. Yeah, Stan Helsing.
Reaching into the
Yeah,
past. But it seems like this is a magnet for you, monsters and vampires. It's
I'm down for it. I yeah, I need to do zombies now. I
mm-hmm.
need to do werewolves. Frankenstein's. Let's get I'll redo the Mummy series.
If we get a reboot of Monster Squad, you could do them all in one. That was the great thing about that one. It had everybody in the same movie.
It had everybody in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what's cool about this movie though, is like it is a throwback to those 90s movies that was funny, still had a heart, action comedy, some gross, a little bit much, but it was like a drive-in movie, you know. And so Netflix is doing it, which is they're like the new boss, I guess. And it's great that they did this because I don't know if there was an opportunity for this movie to be made otherwise, right? Because it's a popcorn movie. It's such a great escapism. My kids watched it. Two 7-year-olds and a 13-year-old.
Totally into it.
Totally into it. I mean, they thought their dad was a little cringy, but like, that's all good.
Right. I mean, I'm hoping there's more to this. I'm hoping there's a sequel involved, that it feels like it could anyway, and which, they all do. All the good movies, you leave it a little bit open, but like to see.
They created a really cool, the writers and the producers created and JJ created a really cool world of this, like, this like vampire tooth hustle. I really think that's kind of cool. Like, cause it's like, they're the ultimate good guys. And when the enemy is a fictitious character, I think it's like, let your imagination run wild.
Speaking of callbacks to the 90s and everything, I'll quickly bring up True Lies, which we get to see you in next with the throwback there. What's it been like taking on that role? The Arnold role.
Great transition. Well done.
Thanks. Come from radio.
Yeah, you do it. Well, when this came up, I was like, you guys know I'm not an Austrian bodybuilder, right? Like,
you're not Armenian either, so it's
good point. Good point. But yeah, I think the movie stands alone. It's a classic. I think you can't really touch that. Also, the show that we're doing is, well, in the pilot we show, I don't even know if I'm supposed to say this, but well, who cares? Helen, the Jamie Lee Curtis character played by Ginger Gonzaga, she becomes an agent. Mm-hmm. So it's now its own, we're kind of, the show is its own thing, obviously, inspired by the movie. But yeah, those are not fun shoes to try to fill, because he's Schwarzenegger's a juggernaut and is like one of the legend action stars, Terminator, Conan, everything else, Commando,
right?
Classic, Alyssa Milano, get out of here, I'll fight
Kindergarten
you.
Cop.
I mean, you can't say that dialogue anymore. Can't say that. It was a different time. And yeah, I'm excited, but the movie was helpful. Was helpful for my stunt training into the stuff that I'll probably be doing for the CBS show, because it's no more of like being behind a bar and like talking shit anymore from Shameless. Right now, I got to get out and like kick some ass in a suit.
Which, by the way, I won't say anything anybody hasn't complimented you on a million times before, but seeing you in Shameless for all those seasons, that was such a great show. And I know it's been over for a year. Has that sunk in? Because, usually you'd be done and you go back, but this time you don't go back.
We don't go back. We were all, we're all still friends, right? We're all still family. You can't help it. Jeremy is like, he's always a star in any decade. I actually told him, I said, I feel bad for you that you weren't born in like the in decades before, because you could have been just a huge star in the 50s and 60s. But he's a huge star now. And then The Bear is awesome. Finola is got a new show coming out on NBC. Cameron's, got movies released. Emma's still doing her thing. Ethan's doing music. Emmy had her show, Angeline, and Bill, he played, I think, one of the most underrated, probably the most underrated character performance. He was never not Frank in all 11 seasons. He always came to work and showed up and played a charismatic piece of shit and a lovable drunk who was a degenerate father and person, but you loved him. And he did that for 11 seasons. The guy is he's a American film and television treasure.
Absolutely.
But thank you for that. Yeah, that was I'm very grateful. I'm a lucky dude.
That's going to live on as one of the greatest all-time. When people do the rankings, it's already on there, and it's going to stay. That was such a hell of a run there to all of you all. In the meantime, I'm really looking forward to seeing what you do on True Lies. And Day Shift is so fun. I want to see more of these brothers. I want to see more vampires and what you guys can do with it. So I hope there's more in the future.
Oh, Kyle, thank you so much. It's really kind. I like that. Hey, your mouth to God's ears. Is that what they say?
And that's what they say. That's what they say. Yeah.
So, I don't know what it means, but I hope it comes true too.
Steve, thank you so much for taking the time to talk. It was really a pleasure to meet you on here.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so much, man.
My thanks to Steve Howey. Again, Day Shift is out now on Netflix. True Lies you can catch on CBS. So thanks to Steve, thanks to you for checking out the episode, the series. Again, I do hope you hit that subscribe button while you're here. 3 new interviews every single week, new ones every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. To keep up with your favorite artists, discover some new ones at iTunes, Apple Podcasts, at Spotify, Podchaser, NPR, WFPK.org, or YouTube for the video versions. Then after that, head over to WFPK.org. That's where I do a show, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern. An hour full of song premieres, music news, anniversary spins, bonus interviews, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern at WFPK.org. Consequence has your music and film news. You can also find me on the social medias, Facebook, Instagram, mostly Twitter. All 3 of them, the web address is at Kyle Meredith. I do hope you like and follow along. That does it for another edition. I'm Kyle Meredith. I'll see you next time. Consequence Podcast Network.
Yeah.
It's easy to hear your favorite artist on WFPK from wherever you are. Listen on your smart speaker, live stream from our website at WFPK.org, from Louisville Public Media.